Within that parenthesis, I have written three expressions. That is expression 1, expression 2 and expression 3. So first we are going to do the initialization. Next I will check for the condition. If this condition is true, then only I am going to execute the statement. What if I wanted to come out of a program, or what if I wanted to come to the end of a program? Then we are going to use this exit statement. Each expression will going to perform different tasks, so that it has to be separated with the help of semicolon. Hello everybody, welcome back to the last session on chapter 10, that is control statements. I am Rohini TS from the Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, Mysuru. So in the previous session of this chapter, I had discussed regarding the selection statement, right? So under that, I have discussed regarding this switch statement, and also we are done with the discussion of this iteration statement. So when I wanted to execute a set of statements or a several set of statements repeatedly, at that time we are going to use this iteration statement, and it is also called as what? Looping or a repetition statement. Then what are the types of looping or iterative statements we had? That is what we have discussed regarding this while and do while. So while is pre-tested and do while is post-tested, and also I have discussed regarding the difference between while as well as the do while. So we are left out with for loop, that is comes under the iterative statement. So in our today's session, we are going to learn about this for loop, as well as we have one more control statement type, that is what? Jump statement. So in today's session, we are also going to learn about this jump statement. So now we'll see about the for loop. So why we are going to use this for loop? So already we had discussed regarding the while loop and do while loop. So what is the use of that? So while, if I consider a while loop, it is what? Pre-tested. I have to test a condition first. If the condition is satisfied, then only it will allow me to repeat that number of statements until the condition become true. That means if the condition become false, at that time it will comes out of the loop. And post-tested. So post-tested is nothing but do while statement. So there we are going to execute several set of statement once, then I am going to check the condition. If the condition is true, again it will going to execute a several set of statement. So that means what? We doesn't know how many times the loop will going to execute. We doesn't know the exact number of looping statement it will going to repeat. But when we are using this for loop, I will get to know that the exact number of repetition it will going to takes place. So that is what the reason of using for loop. So while and do while looping structures or a looping statements will going to be used when we doesn't know the exact number of iterations to be takes place. But we are going to use this for loop only when I know the exact number of looping of a particular structure. That is the main usage of this for loop statements. So then this for loop is also called as fixed execution structure. Why we are calling this as a fixed execution structure? Because at the initial only I know the exact number of iteration or a looping what it will going to take. That is why it is also called as what? Fixed execution structure. So this structure is usually used when we know in advance. I initially know that exactly how many times a set of statement is going to be repeatedly executed again and again. So when I know the exact number of repetition of set of statement, then we are going to use this for loop. And this structure can be used in increment looping or a decrement looping structure. So when I wanted to increment the loop or when I wanted to decrement the loop, then also we can use this for loop. So here you can see the syntax of this for loop. If I am using for loop in my program, then how it must be used. So first what we have a keyword called for. For is a for. That is a keyword that has a specific meaning to the compiler. And I have a parenthesis. So within that parenthesis, I have written three expressions. That is expression 1, expression 2 and expression 3. So if you consider the previous statements or if you consider the previous looping structures and all, there we had only one test condition, right? So there only one test condition. If the test condition is true or false, based on that we are going to make a decision. But here we have a three expression, and each expression will going to perform something and it will going to perform a particular task. So that is what expression 1 semicolon. I just wanted to differentiate one expression from another expression. That is what the reason here we are using semicolon. So here we have a expression 1, comma expression 2, expression 3. Then what is this expression 1 indicates? So you can see that expression 1 indicates that we are going to use this expression mainly for the purpose of initialization. Mainly for the purpose of initialization. And what is the use of having this expression 2? So expression 2 is mainly regarding the condition or a test condition. And we are going to use this expression 3 either for increment or a decrement. So this is the main usage of having this 3 expression in the for loop. Totally it has 3. First expression meant for initialization of a variable. So for example, for I is equal to 0, I can initialize the value of a variable, and expression 2 is a test condition. If this condition is true, then only it will going to enter to this loop. So here you can see the opening and closing of a loop. So within that I have several set of statements. So if I wanted to execute that several set of statement only when the condition is true, that is related to expression 2, and I have a expression 3. So after the execution of this statement, I just wanted to increment a loop or a decrement a loop. For that purpose, we are going to use this expression 3. Okay, so that is either increment or a decrement. Already we know the increment operator and a decrement operator. It can be either pre-increment or a post-increment. This can be pre-decrement or a post-decrement. So for that purpose, we are going to use this for loop. So now we'll see the how for loop will going to work along with a flow chart. So here you can see that it is an entry point of a for loop. How we are going to represent the looping in a flow chart? Already we have discussed in the problem solving methodology. There we have learnt regarding the flow chart. What is the symbol we are going to use for the looping or a repetition? So we are going to use this preparation symbol. So here you can see that it is what? Preparation symbol. So this will be mainly used for the purpose of looping. So now we'll see for CV is equal to IV to FE. What is this? So here you have to understand one thing. CV is nothing but control variable. CV is control variable and IV is nothing but initial value. Initial value. And this FE is nothing but final value. Okay, so we are going to check the looping, or we are going to have a looping or a iteration from the initial value to the final value. So up to that I have to make an exact number of repetition. So for CV, so control variable, or we are going to check the condition. So then it will going to be starts from initial value to the final value. So up to that I have to repeat the number of statements. So I will explain on program, then you can understand what is the initial value and what will be the final value. So up to that, when this condition or when this statement become false, then it will come out of the loop. Until that it will going to execute all the time. So it will going to have several set of statements. So again control will move back to the loop again. If the condition become false, then it will come out of the loop. Okay, so here you can see that the initialization is an n assignment that is used to set the loop control variable. So CV is nothing but control variable. First we are going to use, so if you consider the syntax here, expression 1 is mainly used for the purpose of initialization. So I can use expression 1. So that means we can initialize n number of elements, or we can initialize n number of variables. Next, expression 2, the condition is a relational or a relation expression that determines when the loop exists. That means in the expression 2, we are going to have a condition. That can be any type of condition. It can be relation condition or a relational condition. So there we had discussed regarding lesser than or equal to, greater than or equal to, greater than is equal to, or not equal to. So among all these things, it can have any of the relational expression in the expression 2. So in the expression 3, we are going to have either increment or a decrement. So that will going to defines how the control variable changes time to time. That means for one looping, how it will going to be incremented or going to be decremented. So that changes can be defined in the expression 3. So after that, I have to separate all the expression because each expression will going to perform different tasks, so that it has to be separated with the help of semicolon that indicates the termination of each expression. So now we'll see one example to make you understand this for loop. Okay, so let me write a keyword called for, and after that in expression 1 we are going to use it for the purpose of initialization. So let me take the integer variable int I is equal to 1. Okay, after that I have to put semicolon in the expression 2 that represents the test condition. So let me take the condition I less than or equal to 2. So here I am using this symbol relational condition we are taking. After that in the expression 3 I am just going to increment the variable. Okay, so this represents the initialization. So if you have already initialized or if you have already declared this I in the program in a previous lines of a code, then no need to take this int again. So here I am not taking, that's why I am declaring, along with that I am initializing. So that int I is equal to 1. What is the value of I now? That is 1, and I am checking is I is lesser than or equal to 2. So if it is true, then I just wanted to display the value of I. Okay, this is what my program is all about. So let me consider the first iteration. So here we are going to have a iteration or number of repetition. So here I is equal to 1. Initially I value is 1 here. After that, I am going to check for the condition. Is I is lesser than or equal to 2? So let me consider I is 1. Is 1 is lesser than. Let me write like this. Is 1 is lesser than or equal to 2? This is what my condition is all about. Is 1 is lesser than or equal to 2? Yes, it is a true. If it is a true, then only it will come inside the loop. Then only it will come inside the loop. If the expression 2 is true, then only it will come inside the loop. If the expression 2 become false, then it will go to out of the structure or out of the loop. So here is 1 is lesser than or equal to 2. So at this situation it is true. Then see out I. Here I am not including this I within double quotes. So that is what you have to understand. If I am going to include the variable name in the cout with the double quotes, that will be considered as a statement. But here I am taking a variable name without double quotes. Then it will going to returns the value which is reside in this I. So if I consider this as a output screen, what is the value of I it will going to represent? So the value of I is 1 right now. Next, after this execution, it has to move, the control has to move to the expression 3. So that is I plus plus. I was 1, then 1 plus plus indicates 1 plus 1. Now my I value is 2. So now I value is 2. Again it won't go to the expression 1. It will be in the expression 2 and 3 itself. Okay. So here now I have to check this condition, that is 2 is lesser than or equal to 2. Is 2 is lesser than or equal to 2? Yes, it is equal to 2. It is true. If it is true, then it will going to execute the value of this I, that is cout I. So now in I have 2. So that will going to be displayed on this output screen. Okay. Again it will come back to the expression 3. There I wanted to increment the value of I. So it was 2. 2 plus 1. Now I value will going to be 3. I value will going to be 3 now. Again, I have to check this condition, is 3 is lesser than or equal to 2. Is 3 is lesser than or equal to 2? It will become false. So if it become false, then it won't execute this statement and it won't increment this expression 3. It will come out of the loop. So based on this expression 2 condition, we are going to execute the expression 2. If this condition is true, then it will going to execute several set of statements. If the expression 2 is false, then it will come out of the loop and it will going to execute further statements of a program. So in the output, so it will going to execute only 2 statements, that is 1 and 2. So you can understand that how many times we are repeating this loop. I can say that I am repeating this loop only twice. That is what we have specified the exact number of looping, but it will not be the case in the while and do while. So there, if the condition is false, then only it will come out of the loop, but I doesn't know at what stage or how many numbers it will going to loop. But here I can say the exact number of iteration, I can say the exact number of repetition. That is what the reason of having this for loop. This is regarding for loop as well as the iteration statement. So now we'll see about the jump statement. So what is this jump statement? Jump statement is also called as what? Transfer of control from within a loop. Okay, so when I wanted to have a control or when I wanted to alter the execution of a statement within the loop, then we are going to use this jump statement. So then what is the use of having this jump statement? So transfer of control within the looping are used. So the main usage of having this jump statements are in order to terminate the execution of a loop. Okay, so as we all know that opening and closing of flower braces, before that we have a condition, even after that we have a condition. So when I wanted to terminate that loop, then also I can use this jump statement, or exiting or come out of the loop. So if I wanted to terminate it permanently, or if I wanted to come out of that loop, as well as halfway through to skip the loop. I am already in the off of the program, but now I just wanted to exit from this loop. At that time also we can have this jump statement. So all these can be done. How can I do all these operations or all these activities? That is with the help of jump statement by making use of break, exit and continue statement. So if I wanted to terminate the execution of a loop, then we are going to use this break. Or if I just wanted to exit, or if I just wanted to come out of the program, then we are going to use this exit. Or if I just wanted to come out of the halfway of the looping, then I have to use this continue statement. So these are all the jump statement. So we'll see about this break statement now. So already you guys are familiar with a word called break. So where we have used this break statement? So if you just recall the switch statement, then I have used this break statement. What is the main usage of having this break? Mainly in order to come out of the loop. So if I just wanted to come out of the loop and I don't wanted to execute the further statements of a loop, then we are going to use this break statement. So the break statement has two uses. I can use this with a switch statement in order to terminate the case. So if I consider a switch statement, there it may comprise of n number of cases. If I execute the case number 1 or case label 1, then I should not go with the another cases of a particular switch statement. At that time, we have to come out of a loop. So there also I can use this break statement. Along with that, so you can also use it in order to force the immediate termination of a loop. So when I wanted to terminate from while loop or a do while loop or a for loop by passing a normal loop variables, then we are going to have this break statement. So mainly in order to terminate the case of a switch statement, or I just immediately wanted to come out of the loop from a while statement, do while or for loop statement, then also we can use this break statement. Then how we are going to use this? What is the syntax? It is just what? Break. So we are not going to send any of the parameter. I don't have anything. Other than that, we are just going to specify a keyword called break along with a semicolon. That is what the syntax of this break statement. So we'll see the program example for n is equal to 0, n lesser than 100, n plus plus. So now only I have discussed regarding the for loop, how this for loop will going to work. So first we are going to do the initialization. Next I will check for the condition. If this condition is true, then only I am going to execute these statements. So when the condition become false or when the condition is not true, then it will come out of the loop. So if you consider here, first n value is 0. Then n is less than 100. Is 0 is lesser than 100? Yes, it is true. If it is true, then only it will come here and it will going to execute or it will going to display the value of n. What is the value of n right now? That is 0. Okay. Again it will come here, it checks. Is 0 is equal to 10? Is 0 is equal to 10? No. So if not, then it won't give the break. Again it will go here, n will be incremented by 1. So now n value will going to be 1. So 1 is lesser than 100, it will check yes, and again it will going to display the value of 1. and again it will come here. Is 1 is equal to 10? No. Again it will go here, n will be incremented to 2. So again after this, and for 5 lesser than 100, and 6 is lesser than 100, and again 7 is lesser than 100, 8 is lesser than 100, 9 is lesser than 100. Again everything will going to be checked and every value will going to be displayed here. 5, 6, 7, and let me continue here up to 9, and it will going to take 10 also. Okay, 10 is lesser than or equal to 100. At that time it will going to display the value of 10, and it will come to this point, that is what, if n is equal to 10. At this point 10 is equal to 10. It becomes true. If this condition is true, then it will going to encounter the break. At that time, instead of printing 11, 12, 13 up to 100, it will just come out of the loop. Immediately it will going to terminate the loop and it won't execute the further statements. So if you check this condition here, it has n lesser than 100. So n is lesser than 100, but it's supposed to execute all the statement up to 99 from 0. But here we are using break statement. So main usage of break is what? In order to force the termination of a particular statement, and it will take it out from the loop. So when this n value become, or n value is exactly 10, at that time it will just give a break and it will come out of the loop and it won't display 11, 12, 13 up to 99. Okay, so for this purpose we are going to use this break. When I wanted to come out of a loop, then we are going to use this break statement. So we'll see the next one, that is exit function. So now I have just used break statement. That is what, I just wanted to come out of a loop. When I wanted to terminate from a loop, then we are going to use break statement. What if I wanted to come out of a program, or what if I wanted to come to the end of a program? Then we are going to use this exit statement. So this function causes the immediate termination of the entire program. Very, very important. So in order to terminate from the loop, then we are going to use break. In order to terminate from the entire program, then we have to use this exit function. So this will going to forcing a return to the operating system. Then operating system will going to have a control over the program. Then it will terminate the entire program. For that purpose, we are going to use this exit function. Then what is the general syntax of using this exit statement or exit function? So this is how we are going to use this exit function. So if I am saying this is a function, then it will going to act, or it will going to perform a particular operation or a work. And we can also write like this, void exit of int return code. So in this int return code, I can take 0, I can take 1. So if I am using, so in most of the programs you can see that exit of 0 we are going to use. So that indicates what? Program is going to finish normally, and any other value means that some errors or unexpected results are happened. So if I going to terminate the program without anything, that means if I am going to terminate the program normally, then this exit of 0 will going to be used. Understand one thing? If I wanted to come out of the loop, break statement. If I just wanted to terminate the entire program, I just wanted to come to the end of a program, then we are going to use this exit statement. So here you can see the example for this exit of function. So here we have condition if n modulus I is equal to 0. If this become true, then it will come here and it will check for, and it will going to give the statement. After that, when it found exit of 0, at that time program will going to be terminated normally. So this is how we are going to use the exit in our program. So next we have a continue statement. So what is this continue statement? Break is related to termination of a loop, and exit function is related to termination of an entire program. But what if I wanted to terminate a particular iteration or a particular repetition or a looping? Then we are going to use this continue statement. So let me tell you one thing to make you understand the difference between break, continue and exit. Okay, so you just think we have a library. Among that, I'm just going to take one book. Okay, so consider the entire library as a program. If I just wanted to come out of that library, we are going to use exit. Okay, and take one book and consider that as a loop. Okay, consider that as a loop, and each loop will going to have number of iteration. That is what I is lesser than or equal to 10. That means it will going to have 10 number of iteration. Okay, so you just imagine library is a entire program. Okay, so library will going to be the entire program, and looping will going to be considered as a single book. So within that I have number of iterations. So that is what I can say the number of pages in a single book. If I just wanted to terminate that particular page, then we are going to use this continue. If I just wanted to close the book, then we are going to use this break statement. If I just wanted to terminate the complete library, then we are going to use the exit function. Okay, so you just recall and remember this example to understand the difference between exit, break as well as the continue. So break is related to termination of a loop, and exit is related to entire termination of an entire program, and continue is related to termination of a particular iteration or a looping. So we'll see about this continue statement. So this continue statement will going to cause us the program to skip the rest of the loop in the current iteration. So if I am in the 5th iteration, I don't want it to execute a statement of a 5th iteration. At the time I can use a continue. Again the control will going back to the first condition. Again the control will going back to the test condition of that particular loop. Then we are going to use this continue statement. So it will going to skip the rest of the loop in the current iteration as if the end of the statement block has been reached, and it will going to cause the jump from start of the following iteration. So here you can see the syntax of this continue statement. So we are just going to use a continue keyword along with a semicolon. So here you can see the example of this continue statement. So let me take one more example. Consider I have a for loop. Within that n is equal to 2, n is greater than 0 and n minus minus. I am taking 3 expression, and within that let me consider if n is equal to 1, then continue and see out n value. Okay, let me show you here. First, what I have for loop. Now I am initializing n value as 2 and I am checking is n is greater than 0, is 2 is greater than 0, whether it is true or false. Yes, it is true. If it is true, then it will come here. So here I don't have what if n is equal to 2. Is n is equal to 2? Is 2 is equal to 1? No. So then it will just display the value of n. So what we have in n right now, that is it will going to display the value called 2. After that, again it will come here n minus minus. N will going to be decremented by 1. Initially it was 2, then it will decrement it to previous value. Now n value will going to be 1. Again I am going to check is 1 is greater than 0. Yes, it is true. If it is true, then it will come here. Again it will check for the condition. Is 1 is equal to 1. If 1 is equal to 1, then we encountered this continue statement. So when I encounter this continue statement, I will just skip this first looping. I will just skip this second looping, which is having the value called 1. At that time, I am not going to display the value of n. That is what I am not going to display the value of 1. Again, it will come here n is equal to 0 now. N become 1 minus 1, that is 0. And here I have n is greater than 0. 0 is not greater than 0. Then it will come out of the loop. Okay. It will just going to display only 2. But when it encountered n is equal to 1, at that time it won't display whatever the further statement is there. It is just coming out of that particular loop or a iteration. But it won't affect anything to the previous iteration or the further iteration. That is the use of having this continue statement in our program. So when I found this continue, at that time I won't come here. Again my control will go back to the initial stage of a condition, initial stage of this looping. So instead of coming to the next line, again it will going to start from the initial stage of a looping. So this is regarding continue statement. So we'll see the next jump statement, that is what? Go to statement. So why this go to statement is used? So what it is indicating, where we are supposed to go? We'll see now. So this go to statement will going to make us to use in order to jump to the any other point in the program. So you just consider it is a program. So my execution point is there. If I just wanted to move from this point to this point, so if I just wanted to ignore all whatever the limitation is there or nesting limitation is there, by ignoring all these things, I just wanted to have my program pointed to here. At that time, when I wanted to jump unconditionally, when the control has to be terminated unconditionally, then we are going to use this go to statement. Then how can I get to know where I'm supposed to go? What the label? So that is what we have to specify the destination. So if I'm consider this as a source, so that is what the actual point where I am right now in my program. So if I wanted to reach any of the destination, we have to specify that destination with the help of a label. Then we will get to know the label is like address. Where I'm supposed to go, I must have an address or a location that help us in order to reach to the particular point. So if I wanted to jump from one point of a program to another point of a program unconditionally or without any limitation, then we are going to use this go to statement. And label is made of a valid identifier followed by a colon. Already we have discussed regarding the valid identifier. So if I wanted to have an identifier, we have to follow several rules. So if you didn't get to know about this valid identifier, go back to the session of this problem solving methodology. There I have discussed regarding this identifier concepts. So that means if I am taking any variable or a constant, what are the rules we have to follow in order to take any of the identifier. So along with that, I have to specify a colon. Then that indicates the destination from where we are supposed to go to. Well, see the syntax here. So here I have statement 1, statement 2. Okay, so these are what any of the statement in a program. Then we have a go to keyword. So after that go to keyword, I must include a label name that indicates that where I'm supposed to go. So when I'm encounter this label name, that means when I'm encounter this go to statement, at that time it won't execute statement 3 and 4. Instead of that, it will going to check for a label. So where we have label name in my program, so here you can see that label name which is followed by colon. So it has a statement 5 and statement 6, it will going to be executed. For example, if I am going to take go to TSR and here my label name is TSR, at that time, so this statement 1 and 2 will going to be executed normally. After that, it will reach us to the next line of a program. That is what go to TSR. Then it won't execute whatever is there. Instead of that, it is just checking where is TSR. So at that time, it will come here and it will going to execute the statement which is belongs to this particular label. So when I wanted to jump unconditionally from one point of a program to any other point in a program that is within the program, then we are going to use this go to statement. So this is what the end of this chapter as well as the session. I hope you all understood with the control statement. So in this, every syntax, every flow chart as well as the program is very important, and difference between while and do well is also important for 5 marks question. So this is the end of this session as well as the chapter. So let me meet you in the next session with a new chapter. Until that, keep learning, keep on growing. Thank you.